Hello and welcome to your 30-minute restorative practice. I'm Steph. If we haven't met or practiced together before, all you'll need for today's practice is a bolster. And when you're ready, come and meet me on the mat. We'll begin in a child's pose, wide knee child's pose, taking your knees out wide, bringing the bolster in towards the pelvis, and we'll bring our chest down to rest on our bolster. Making any adjustments that you need to here. You might like to take the arms out in front of you, maybe holding the bolster with the hands. Once you've found a position that you can be in for 15 or so rounds of breath, that's how long we'll be holding our child's pose today. Allow yourself to settle into stillness. Allow your body to rest on your bolster as gravity gently pulls you down towards the mat. The beautiful thing about our restorative practice is that we put ourselves into poses and then let gravity do all of the work for us. It's a very low effort practice, but there's so much benefit to incorporating restorative practices into your day or into your routine. And throughout your practice, maybe noticing where your mind has a tendency of wandering to. And whenever you notice that your mind is wandering away from your practice, can you guide your focus either back to your breath or maybe back to the physical sensations that you're feeling in the pose? Looking to the inside lines of our legs, the hips, maybe even into the back body here. Shoulders if the arms are extended out in front of you. We're about halfway through. If you have one cheek resting on the bolster and you'd like to change sides and bring the opposite cheek to rest on the bolster, I invite you to do so here, and then we'll settle back in for another 7 to 8 rounds of breath. Allowing your breath to flow easy and effortlessly throughout your practice. In and out through your nose. Let's enjoy another 3 rounds of breath. And then in your own time, slowly bringing your palms to the mat, pressing yourself away from your bolster and placing your bolster off to the side. We'll slowly bring ourselves down onto our bellies, stacking the hands at the top of your mat and bringing your forehead to rest on the backs of the hands. Taking a few moments here, maybe let the hips rock side to side. We're making our way into a restorative half frog pose. Taking your right arm and cactusing it out to the right, bending the elbow so that it's 90 degrees and bringing the palm to place on the floor. Right knee up towards that right elbow and let your left cheek come down towards the mat. You can take that left arm down beside the left hip. Again, setting ourselves up in a way that we invite a lengthening and stretching into the body while simultaneously supporting ourselves with the floor here. Settling in for those 15 or so rounds of breath. You might like to tune into the gentle expansion of your belly as you breathe in and the softening into the mat as you breathe out. We're about halfway through. You've been noticing that your mind is drifting away from your practice. Can you choose to focus and bring your attention to the breath for these next 6 to 7 rounds of breath? We'll slowly start to make our way out of the pose now, extending that right leg back behind you. We'll stack the hands at the top of the mat again, bring the forehead to the backs of the hands, and let the hips rock side to side. In your own time, making your way onto the second side, cactusing your left arm out to the left, bending the elbow to 90 degrees, taking your right hand down beside the right hip, and drawing that left knee up towards the left elbow. Positioning ourselves in that way that we're supported by the floor and allowing gravity to invite that opening into the body for us. Settling in for those 15 or so rounds of breath. Easy, effortless inhales and exhales, in and out through your nose. You're about halfway through the second side, checking in with where your focus is, choosing to be present for these last 6 to 7 rounds of breath. In your own time, very slowly and mindfully making your way out of your half frog, taking that left leg back behind you, either keeping both hands down beside the hips, or you might stack the hands at the front of the mat. Again, letting the hips rock side to side here, bringing balance back into the body. From here, bringing your hands to the mat so that you can slowly press yourself away from the floor. Bring yourself onto your sit bones. We'll grab our bolsters here, coming into a folded butterfly shape, bringing the soles of the feet together. You can choose how close towards the body the feet are, or sometimes, some days, it's nice to take them further away. So have a bit of a play, explore which one feels best for you today, and then we'll bring our bolster and place it on top of the feet. If you have quite a firm bolster like I do, and folding forward you don't get very far, you can use your bolster against the floor and rest your head like so. I prefer to come a little bit further down, so I'll be having my bolster resting on the feet. And then I'll make my way down, bringing my chest to the bolster, and again, letting one side of my face rest down as well. Give yourself time to get yourself set up, making those adjustments if you need to, so that we can land in complete stillness for our 15 rounds of breath. We're talking to the outer edges of our hips here in our butterfly pose, the inside lines of the legs, inviting stretch and length into these areas. With the forward fold, you may also get some opening happening through the upper back body from the hips all the way up to the backs of the shoulders. We've got another 7 or so rounds of breath here. Staying connected to your breath, maybe tuning into those sensations that you're feeling in the pose that may start to be getting a little bit more noticeable now that we've spent some time here in this pose. And just noticing how, if the sensations are bringing about a bit of discomfort, really using your breath to help you sit with that discomfort in the body. Know that we're not here for much longer. Thinking about the quality of your breath. We'll enjoy another 3 rounds of breath. And then we'll slowly start to lift away from our bolsters. There's no need to rush to get out of the pose. Taking the bolster off to the side in your own time. And bringing the soles of the feet to the mat. We'll let the knees rock side to side a few times. You might like to let them stay when they come to one side. Our butterfly pose is a very big external hip rotation, and when we let the knees come to one side, we invite internal rotation into that leg with the inside edge of the knee on the floor. So countering that big external rotation in the hips with a bit of internal rotation, helping to bring that balance back into the body. That's it. And then from here, making sure that bolster is within reach, we'll make our way down onto our mats. Once you find your back, bring the knees into the chest and take a little sway side to side. We'll set ourselves up for either a supported bridge or a supported pontoon. The entry is the same, so we'll release the legs, let the soles of the feet find the mat, knees are bent. Make sure that you can place your hand on your bolster. We'll press into the feet, lift the hips away from the floor, and then slide your bolster in underneath your sacrum. If you have a firm bolster like me, you'll really have to lift the hips away from the floor. Sometimes it's helpful if you have a friend or family member close by that can assist you. Once the sacrum is resting on the bolster, you can stay here with the feet on the mat and the knees bent, or maybe one at a time you extend the legs straight. You can stay here, half bridge, half pontoon, or come into your full pontoon. Again, take the first few moments of coming into the pose to make sure that you're picking the best option for you today and how your body's feeling today, even if it's not the option you normally would take. Our bodies can vary so much day to day, and it's nice to honor them for their differences each day. I'm going to rebend my knees and find a supported bridge, but please feel free to stay as you are. We have another 12 or so rounds of breath. Finding stillness in the pose, connecting with your breath, maybe observing and noticing the sensations that the pose brings into the body. If you're taking that half pontoon, half bridge variation, just changing legs here, and we'll enjoy another 7 or so rounds of breath. If you have the legs straight, slowly starting to bend the knees one at a time, meeting back with the soles of the feet on the mat. Press the feet down to lift the hips up, slide your bolster out from underneath you, and then slowly lower the hips down to the floor. We'll bring the knees in towards the chest, wrap the arms around the shins, find that gentle rock side to side.
And making our way into our Shavasana, our final resting pose for our practice today. You may like to use your bolster behind the knees, using the feet to help you get it into position. Extend the feet towards the front of the mat. Bring the heels to rest on the floor and let the toes naturally open out to the sides. Making any final adjustments here you need to allow yourself to find complete stillness. Let's unclench the jaw. We'll peel the tongue away from the roof of the mouth. And we'll soften the space between our eyebrows. Letting yourself relax into the mat. Feeling the support of the mat, the floor, maybe your bolster beneath you as you surrender into your Shavasana. I'll let you know when it's time for us to come out. If you have time to stay and you'd like to stay a little bit longer as you are, please feel free. Otherwise, we'll begin to invite deeper breaths back into the body, starting to wiggle your fingers and your toes. Find little circles in the wrists and the ankles. We'll end our practice on our backs today. Bring the palms together in front of your heart. taking a moment to show yourself gratitude for making this time in your day for you. Thank you so much for practicing with me. Namaste.